Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you're doing well. Today we're going to learn exactly how to find the standard deviation. Yesterday we learned what it was all about. It's how far away data is from the middle, how spread out the data is. So take a look at this graph and you can see what a standard deviation table looks like and where the data falls. It's a number, and that number is specifically how far away it is from the middle. So the smaller their standard deviation, the closer they are together. The larger your standard deviation, the farther apart they are. That means they have a bigger range. Here's our official formula for standard deviation. Oof, that's not looking good. So I'm going to walk you through step by step of exactly how to solve this type of problem. So we're going to go ahead and look at the example and find the standard deviation of the temperature that was here in Morro Bay from April 26th to May 2nd. So here was what our forecast looked like. So we're going to go ahead and take those numbers and find the standard deviation of my temperature in Morro Bay. So our first step is we're going to find the mean. So we're going to add all of these temperatures together and divide by 7. So that's 428 divided by 7. So we have a mean temperature over this week of 61.6 degrees. We're then going to go ahead and make a 3-column table. The first is our data, which where we're simply going to put all of our data points, which is our temperatures each day, in order from least to greatest. We're then going to go ahead for step number 2, and we're going to take that data point and we're going to subtract our mean, which is 61.1. So we start out here 57 minus 61.1 and we get negative 4.1. We then go 58 minus our mean, 61.1, and we continue for all of our 7 data points. We're now going to go ahead and take this number and we're going to square it. So all of them will end up being positive numbers. So we're going to go ahead and go through and get that table of numbers. So we're going to take that middle column and square it. We're now going to go ahead and add all of those last columns together and then divide by 7. So here we have 72.8 divided by 7, which is 10.4. We're going to finish up by taking the square root of this number. So the square root of 10.4 is 3.2. This is your standard deviation. All of that work, given all of your data points, tells us our standard deviation is 3.2 degrees. Now, when we look at our standard deviation table, what does that tell us? That tells us that our mean is right here in the middle at 0, at 61.1 degrees. We're then going to go ahead and move out -1 standard deviation and +1 standard deviation to get temperatures between 57.9 and 64.3. That means 68.26% of our temperatures that week are in between these two. When we go out 2 standard deviation, we're bumping that up to 95.44% of our values. So that means 95.44% of the time, our temperature is between 54.7 and 67.5. And finally, the 3rd standard deviation out is temperatures between 51.5 degrees and 70.7 degrees. So most of our temperatures are between those two. Now, that was a lot of work. However, I'm going to show you how to do this on Desmos in a lot easier fashion. So all I've done is I've added plus table. So I've created a table and I've put in all of my temperatures in order. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to my next item here. And I'm going to bring up on this side, I'm going to bring up our little calculator. This guy's kind of in the way. Let me move it out. So we're going to bring up our keypad, and on our keypad, we're going to go ahead and find our standard deviation. Going to alt our T's here. Okay, so we're going to bring up our keypad, and I'm going to go to functions. Now, once I'm in functions here, I'm going to go to stats. And if I want to find the mean of the data, I just type in mean. I look at my table and I see it's X1. So I'm just going to type in X1. And it shows me that my mean is 61.1. So it's doing all of that math for you. I can go ahead and go to the next column, do that again. I can even find the median in this way. And once again, I'm looking at table X1. So my median is 60. I can do this with finding my standard deviation. So all the work that we just did, all you're going to have to do is press functions. We're going to go ahead, in this case, do my population standard deviation. And once again, you'll learn more about this in Algebra 2. but my standard deviation of x1 is 3.2, which is what our standard deviation was. So all that number means is how far away the numbers are from the middle. The smaller the number, the smaller the standard deviation, the closer those numbers are together, and the larger that number, the farther those numbers are apart. Thank you guys so much. Go ahead and move on and complete your Desmos activity, then your Khan Academy for the day. Have a great day.